And that will be between Equilibrium for StraTk Gaming and Couchie for the Lucky 13. This one is the third of our Gold League games. Whoops, I'm deleting the wrong thing. Nice if I put them in the right order, so it's the same as the teams. Okay, got that fixed. Get it fixed in the dashboard as well. And head into the game. This one's going to take place on Yansu. Couchie is playing as a Terran for the Lucky 13 and Equilibrium as a Protoss for StraTk Gaming. They are both Gold League players. This is in fact our third Gold League match. Now, at this point, StraTk Gaming has already taken it with a 5-2 win. The Lucky 13 taking the first two sets and StraTk taking every other set since. They're apparently doing extremely well this week. So we're about to head into our game, so I'll switch the scene so we can start watching. So, spawning here in the upper right, we have the Lucky 13's Couchie as a purple Terran. Nice colors. And spawning down here in the lower left, we have StraTk Gaming's Equilibrium as our blue Protoss. Playing here on Yansu. Two-player map, so they do know where they are. For those of you who may be just tuning in, this is in fact a match between two teams in the Chobo Team League. The Chobo Team League is a league for players Diamond and below. So all of us, and I do mean us, as I am in fact a player on neither of these teams. I play for Vortex as one of their silver players. Anyway, it is a league set up so players like us can get better in a fun team environment and to get together, play some somewhat serious games, and also so we can get to know each other more and practice together. Anyway, so the builds are looking pretty standard so far, looking like a gateway expand for our Protoss player, and a 1-rack X probably expand for our Terran player. Looks like he is going to go for that Reaper, getting down a pretty early refinery, but probably one Marine first and then a Reaper. Equilibrium sending a probe across to Scout, and Couchie also sending across an SCV, so Scout timing a little faster for Equilibrium, and interesting choice to leave that little tiny supply depot as a partial wall off. Very cute to prevent scouting. I may actually have to use that in my Terran games. That's pretty cool. And this SCV, as it finishes up the barracks now, starts to finish that up, and that probe is unable to see the gas timings or anything. In fact, choosing to take a reactor first approach rather than attempt to do anything else with that gas, like make an early Reaper. Probe trying to harass the SCV, but the SCV coming to the backside and hiding. The Cyber Core coming down for Equilibrium. So some pretty cute play by Couchie to prevent scouting completely, whereas he has a full scout of the Protoss base, seeing that there is indeed 2 gases down, each with two probes in them. And that cyber core. See Warp Gate starting immediately, as is typical, and a Stalker also starting immediately, having skipped that first Zealot and just chosen to go straight to a Stalker. Choosing a Stalker before Mothership Core approach. I bet we'll see Mothership Core quite soon. Yeah, 1 more probe and then a Mothership Core. Interesting, choosing to take the extra probe before the Mothership Core. In fact, he cancels that probe. No, the probe did finish. Anyway, just looking at the initial builds of our players. Both of them looking to be pretty darn efficient. Actually playing a fair bit better than that Platinum game we just saw. 2 more barracks coming down for Couchie. Well, I've already finished both building reactors, so it's looking like we're going just Mass Marine for Couchie. Very interesting choice against Protoss, as usually Marauders are extremely effective against Protoss as opposed to just Mass Marine. And Mass Marine doesn't necessarily work the best when you don't have any stim, but looks like he's just going to 3-racks and probably go for extreme amounts of aggression before any of the hefty Protoss tech hits, is my expectation upon what I've seen so far out of his build. In the meantime, we see Equilibrium getting down his second base and getting down a Robo. Probably going to see him head straight to Colossi as soon as that Robo is done. A few more gateways coming out there to coincide with the Warp Gate tech finishing up. Chrono boosting out the Warp tech, but Couchie already sending across a number of Marines, starting more and more Marines. He's just going to keep building Marines as much as he can afford. Yep, every Marine he can afford, along with those SCVs. He's actually oversaturating the mineral with SCVs, plus sending down mules. No, he is just simply going to make as many Marines as he possibly can and throw them across the map, which, considering what's across the map right now, is probably a pretty good plan. It looks like he's going to cancel his base. Well, he actually baits out the Photon Overcharge and chooses to run back rather than run up the ramp. Now, a smart choice would have been to run up the ramp when that happened, rather than just run back, but it looks like he's going to wait out this Photon Overcharge and just mass up his Marines before attacking again. 1 Marine going a little bit too far forward, probably a misrally. Yep, he now fixes his rally point. To prevent that from happening again, and just decides to wait out this Photon Overcharge. There really should be a bar or something to tell you how long the Photon Overcharge will last, because there's just no indication at all within the UI how long the Photon Overcharge is going to last. So that Photon Overcharge is now finished. So all these Marines are moving forward once again. Now there is 1 sentry to wall off that ramp, and it does in fact wall off that ramp. These Stalkers trying to kite, but this base is forfeit. There's absolutely no way he can defend this base. These Marines getting a fair bit of damage done and making this base completely unable to mine, and slowly working away at it before trying to move up. Good force field sectioning off a few Marines so they can take down the Marines for free with their Zealots, but losing that base, not using the chrono energy on it before he loses it. And this is looking pretty dire for Equilibrium. Couchie continuing to just send mass Marines right across the map. There is 1 Colossus out, which is going to do a pretty good number on the Marines already in the base. Might bring that Colossus pretty well. He might actually be able to hold with his Colossus in the right places. Colossus might bring well probes coming forward to zone out those Marines for the Colossus, and it looks like Equilibrium may well hold this. That Colossus really doing work in the probe micro, sending forward the probes to zone out the Marines from this Colossus, but this Colossus is still being sent out right in front, taking a little more damage. I'm not sure that that's the best idea. He's got to get some units in front of that Colossus to hold. Now he does have another Photon Overcharge in the Mothership Core if it comes to that, but he's lost a base. However, he is a 1-base Protoss versus a 1-base Terran. Got a lot of money coming up, which is good because it allows him to warp in some more Zealots. Using all that production as quick as he can. Another Colossus on the way. Extended Thermal Lance just about to finish, and that may spell the end for Couchie. A Colossus with Extended Thermal Lance will completely hold off whatever he can send at it, but he continues to just mass Marines over here. He does a scan to try to catch any observers that might be watching him, but there isn't really anything out there. Now the observer heading out as soon as the scan is done to see what's going on. Good choice. But with the second Colossus now out and enough units to at least hold the Marines off for a minute, yeah, he's going to move forward, try to take down all these Marines. Couchie realizing that just plain sending Marines across the map is not going to work, getting down his second base. These Marines retreating home, taking losses. Taking a whole lot more losses than they need to. As they keep turning to try to fight, but they're not going to take much down. They're just going to continue to take losses if they do that. However, Equilibrium's slowing down his army just a little. Being content to have sent Couchie to retreat into his base. Couchie building some barracks to try to building some bunkers to try to deal with this. But there isn't really much of a way he can deal with this. First bunker goes down. Second one is in pretty dire straits already, even with SCVs repairing it. Couchie just GG's out. Equilibrium having taken a 6th game aim for